So this is also a great segue because this shot is of you in Alaska. And as I started saying, we were on each other's trip to Alaska, which was, so we took this overnight flight to Anchorage. And we get in and it's still kind of light out at like 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was. But we get on the little van to go to the hotel, which we had a flight later that day to Cordova. I don't know this guy. He doesn't know me. There's the driver, and Mike is just saying, oh, but I have a flight later to Cordova. And I'm like, so do I. And in that moment, we figure out, oh, we're both going on offshore. And I want to share a little bit about what Offshore Outpost is. And it was truly a unique experience and the way they do and what they're about.
People have asked me about the trip. I'd been to Alaska before. Dave invited me on this trip. He'd tried to get me down, been saying for a while, I've got to get in this boat we're going to do. And I didn't really know what I was getting into. And I'm going to say I've been a lot of places. I've been a lot of places a lot of times. And I've been on a lot of trips. And I can say this without hesitating. It was the best trip and most beautiful place I've ever been to in my entire life. I've never been somewhere. Every time you looked out every window looked like a flat screen TV at the Apple store with like Apple screensavers. We were lucky that the boat, it was sort of their first week in Alaska, so they kind of were using us as their test, I think. And it went off perfect. And so it was a very uncrowded boat, and it was so nice. I was like, at first I was like, a week on a boat? It's going to be tough, because I'm pretty antsy, I want to do stuff, but I was like, I can't believe a week happened already. I've never been somewhere where I saw so few people. I mean, we'd get to a bay. We'd travel during the day a few hours, get to a bay, and then we'd park, and then we'd do activities, whether it's kayaking, or we'd go on hikes, and we'd yell, hey, bear, because you got shotguns, make sure no bears are around. We'd go on hikes to waterfalls or lakes. We went to a salmon hatchery. You think you get sick of kayaking. You're like, I've kayaked, it's the same thing every day, but it's not. Every time you get in, you're like, let's see, this is sick. And everything was so beautiful. And by the first day, we'd seen moose, eagles, bears. We seen everything. Whales. And the boat was like the best food. It was the best food I'd ever eaten. That food I've ever, if it was a lamb chuck, it's the best lamb chuck I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Everything was, and the crew was like, I think it was 8 or 9 crew, and
4 of us.
4 of us, but all the crew itself, everyone had these great stories, and we're all so educated about, not educated, but they were so great at whatever they had been doing, and it was just so interesting to talk to everybody. And I'm not just saying that because I want to get on another trip, Dave, but I really was. Everyone's like, oh, how was Alaska? I'm like, I can't even compare it to anything.
Yeah.
Because you never, in this world of being so many people all the time, you never are somewhere where there's just no one.
And it's interesting. So I had this experience first, and then I went on the big family cruise. And it was amazing to experience Alaska this way in really just the most pristine place, but nobody around. And we pull into these bays that were just gorgeous, one after another, that were just incredible. But we wouldn't see anyone. And as Mike was saying, it was like flat screen TV views everywhere. And there was moments where we'd be eating dinner and someone would be like, whale, and everyone would just get up like they're 5 years old and go run outside to look at the whale. But I'll tell you, just talking about the meals and the food, I've never taken so many pictures of my meals in my life. It was incredible. Should we show this quick little video?
Oh, yes.
So let's see it.
hater, raise your hand. See? It's no love. Can't even come all the way to Alaska and get no love.
No love. Hey,
Yo, Moose.
Before we even get to where the no love really came from for you, let's talk about Brian's octopus.
Sick.
First off, amazing catch, pretty cool. But you also kind of got back at him for all the years of him.
Yeah, on Stranger in Danger, we had to eat a lot of food, terrible food, worse food, like live octopus, like llama brains, eyeball tacos, every sort of bug, fermented food that shouldn't, it's just terrible. Might as well be tear gas in your face. And so he caught this octopus, and one of the guys on the ship was like, "You have to eat the beak." And so,
like a champ, he ate it.
He ate, and at first he's like, "I'm not eating. I know how this goes." Sometimes you have to eat the legend of the beak. He's like, "I made up all those legends. I know there's no legend." He's like, "I'm the legend maker." But then he took it all down. So it was good. But I don't even. Fish is an easy one.
All right, well,
fresh fish. Come on.
Well, hold on. So again, at the end of that video, you talk about no love. So one of the funniest parts of this whole trip and experience was Mike got service everywhere.
60% of the time, but there's no service anywhere.
No. He got service everywhere. We were hiking. We were like in the middle of nowhere, and he's doing an Instagram live.
They can't even check their email.
Nobody else had service at any time. Mike Escamilla is like in the middle of we're in the middle of Prince William Sound going, "Hey, look, people, whales," and everyone else is like, "Arr." So there's this. That's what Mike Escamilla is doing this live.
He's so pissed.
So now I can't do it, but I'm just shooting him doing his live feed. Ready? We're gonna throw in some shrimp pots. So he threw in the shrimp pots, and now we get to catch the shrimp. That, of course, our amazing Chef Dave whipped up to something crazy. But it also was a great lesson in not having to use Wi-Fi and whatnot. But yeah, he got, and again, the kind of tail end of that is he got service everywhere except when we got back to LAX and he was trying to call an Uber. He had no service. I got an Uber way before he did. So that was awesome. Kind of got one from him. I want to put up this picture of you guys. Again, we talked about all the travel moments you guys had together. And I really, as a traveler, as a person who does this show, it was great to experience it with both of you guys. But it was fun to even just see this picture. And also kudos to Dave, who's just an amazing photographer, for a lot of the images you captured. You guys have a funny, playful Laverne and Shirley kind of relationship, but you've experienced so much travel together. It's not
Laverne and Shirley?
I don't know.
I'd say it's more like Rocky and Polly.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Anyway, what does travel mean?
What's the other question? All right, travel. I think that the world is such an easy place to experience now online, and I think with VR being such and things like that happening now, I think people are going to see less. They're going to see more with doing less, and I think that I think travel changes you in a way that only travel can, and I think it helps you grow as a person. The only way travel can make you grow. So I think for me, it's just a place to grow and really experience other people and really be humbled in the fact that all our lives are pretty damn great compared to most of the planet, and really try to be present and appreciate all the people and places and things we have here.
Well said. And the other thing is, as this being travel with meaning, it's like that thing that's really left you moved, touched, and inspired, whether it's a person, place, or something that's happened to you that's really left a profound impact.
I'm a dad, so I have a 4-year-old little girl. And when I found out that I was going to have a baby, it was pretty scary, right? I mean, I'm like a guy's guy. What do I know about being a dad to, especially a girl? How is I going to teach her all the things that she needs to know, to survive, right? I mean, I've had a ton of jobs, right? But I've never been a teacher. I've never even been a babysitter. I made sausages. I was a sausage maker, and I was at the shitty end of the sausage maker. I was literally squeezing the poop out of the intestines so to make out of the sheath to make the casings for the sausage. And then that's not going to help her, And then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, I was a bathroom attendant in Bangladesh. That was a terrible job. When we took the job, I didn't know that in Dhaka is the capital of Bangladesh. And there's 17 million people in Dhaka. 5 million of those people don't have bathrooms in their homes. So the city provides public bathrooms, and we are going to be bathroom attendants for one of these public bathrooms. The catch is they provide 49 bathrooms for 5 million people. So you can imagine what those bathrooms look like. And the toilets in Bangladesh aren't like a toilet you think of home. They're just like a porcelain bowl on the ground. They just kind of squat over. And have you ever seen like those videos where people are holding like watermelons off a sky rise and dropping them onto targets? That's what they look like, except it looked like a contest that no one ever won. It was terrible. You know, I mean, the only thing I got from that job was pink eye. And like, so I have that to tell Luna, like, don't mess with poop and you get pink eye. And then I started really thinking about how all these terrible jobs I've had and that maybe I should try to get better jobs. I worked in a sewage plant. And in this particular sewage plant, all the sewage from the whole city came into this one facility that funneled into this one pool that all went through this one filter. But the catch is that if the filter gets clogged, someone has to unclog it. So that's right. That's cute. That's where I waddle in scuba gear. And it's like scuba gear like it's the old kind with big metal helmets, right? That sit on in like 80 pounds, and it's like that so you can talk. It's got a comm system, right? So you can talk. So it's got that. It's got this knob on it that adjusts the airflow, and the airflow comes in, lets you breathe, but it also pushes the air out so no water can get in because it just sits on your shoulders. And so I'm getting lowered into 20 feet of shit and piss and any God knows what is in there. And I'm at the bottom, about 20 feet in, and I start feeling coldness on my neck. Oh, no. Right? And then it's on my chin. Oh, no. And I'm like, I start freaking out. I'm like, I'm going to drown in human waste. And I freak out, and I'm like, pull me out of here, right? So they whip me out. I don't drown. I'm alive. But not before it gets to my mouth, right? So I've got all of Mexico City in and around and on my mouth. My daughter's, she's not going to make it past 1. So jump like years later. It's about 7 or 8 months after Luna's been born, and she's a perfect baby. She doesn't cry very much. But this day she was crying like uncontrollably and in pain, and you could tell. And she hadn't gone to the bathroom in like 3 or 4 days, so we knew she was constipated. And so her mom took her diaper off, and she just like looked at her butt, turned her over, and she just had a huge rock hard poop stuck in her butt. And it was so big, and it was like she was bleeding. It was tearing her. That's how big it was. And her mom like looked at me crying and was like, "You're up." And like I knew at that moment, this is what I've been training for. You know, this was my moment, right? So I was like, I put my sleeves up and I got in there, right? So like, I'm down on my knees and I'm trying to grab it. I'm like Meredith from Grey's Anatomy. I'm like a shit surgeon, right? So I'm in there and I'm trying to pull it out and it's just not going to budge. And so I'm like, I'm going to have to actually make the mass of this poop smaller to get it out. So I went and grabbed a plastic fork, right? Calm down. I flip it over, I use the other end, and I just start scraping like a line in it, right? And I'm scraping a line. It's starting to look like a big bolt that you could just unscrew with a big flathead screwdriver. It's not what I was thinking I was going to do, but at this point, she's like sweating, and she's crying, and mom's crying, and I'm almost in tears, so I just start going at it fast, and I'm in there, and I'm like digging, and all of a sudden the poop just pops out in my hand. And Luna goes quiet. And I turn her around, and she gives me the biggest hug I've ever gotten. Like, she's a baby. Like, she's a 7 or 8 months, and I'd never gotten a hug like that before. Like, it was like one with a meaning, and she hugged me, and then I put her down, and she just passed right out. She was exhausted. So I'm sitting there with poop in my hand, and like, I was like, and I know this probably sounds terrible to anyone who doesn't have kids, but I was thinking, like, I wouldn't have changed anything, right? Like, I wouldn't have changed the poop under my fingernails for making sausage. I would have changed the crusty eyes from the pink eye, and I definitely wouldn't have. I would welcome the like mysterious taste on my lips from Mexico, because I think at that point I knew what all it had meant for it, and Luna knew that at that point there was no shit that Dad couldn't handle. Yeah. Woo! Yeah. So yeah, I think that's what I get from all those years of the record trying to kill me was for that moment, and I think that I realized that travel is really about growth, and that was, that was it.
Sounds like it was a big moment.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's it.
This is a great morning. I want to talk just also, just really quick about Offshore Outpost. As Alaska season has finished, Mexico is coming up. They do Sea Cortez. I want to show a quick video. As Mike and I both have said, like, it's a pretty extraordinary experience. And the one thing that is the big takeaway that I've told everyone, besides the crowds of being on the regular cruise ship, but the other thing was that you didn't have to then pay for all these excursions like I did on the big cruise ship. So everything's just included. And it's not just everything. It's like, oh, you want to do this? Oh, we can go do that. Oh, hey, you want to kayak every day? You can kayak every day. You want to fish by yourself? Go for it. So they do a great job, not only just to curate what you want and do it to the best good, but you're eating fresh, organic. You're eating the food you catch. It's just...
I know this sounds like an advertisement, but
I'm not trying to make it.
I can't even tell you. It's just an experience that I could have never gotten.
Yeah. Anyway, just watch this and tell me you don't want to go on this, because I do. Hey, Dave, I really want to go.
Seats taken.
Dude. Again, Dave Mullen, co-founder. Feel free to reach out to him. I mentioned Travel with Meaning. He'll take care of it.